Hi everyone, I'm joined today by Volkan Mueller as part of my Key Takeaways series. Volkan, great to see you.
Hey Chris, good to see you.
Would you be able to tell us a bit about yourself and your background, please?
Yeah, Chris, pleasure. Thanks for having me. Volkan Mueller, I mean, the name says it. I'm half Turkish, half German. I call myself a global citizen, married to a South African. I think I must have moved around 8 countries or so. Grew up in hospitality industry, like service industry, all the way through until very recently with JLL. And I held roles as a CFO, finance administration, but also lately in some of my later roles, I went into chief operating officer roles. Quite exciting. I'll share a little bit later, but it was interesting journey, very colorful background, people would say.
As you mentioned, you successfully made the transition from CFO to COO. What advice do you have for others looking to follow suit?
Well, I mean, successful. Thanks. I take this as a compliment. So, I think it was successful, Chris. I think, look, finance always excited me because you're part of the decision making and you sit at the table. But in a lot of instances, finance is reactive. So you're looking back, you're trying to understand and open the eyes to people and the business to say, this is how we perform, this is how the business is doing. Now, there's a lot of elements that play part for finance to be successful. Take human resources, take procurement, take even legal to a certain extent. As a COO within JLL, I had the opportunity to actually run all the support functions, as well as some smaller consulting business lines. And what it gave me was it was a little bit of a holistic view, looking at well-rounded. So you can manage to create a strategy for your HR as much as you can manage to create a strategy for your procurement, all to help the business grow further. And with that, I think one of the interesting parts was I had the opportunity to actually get into marketing, for example. And marketing for me was always a cost center. So people would say, where do you want to cut costs? You cut the marketing. As a CEO, you can't really just cut on one side because finance reports to you. You also need to make sure that you grow and help growing the business where required. And so you need to make sure that there is an element of marketing that helps you position the product and the business correctly in the market. So I think overall, it's been an interesting journey, and I think grateful having been able to do this for JLL in the country. And I think my advice is, if you ask me, is for people that want to see further, let's say, go a little bit further in their strategy and their development. If they want to get away from just the finance piece and just add a little bit more to the puzzle in running bigger corporates, I think the CEO role is quite exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I guess one comment I've heard and which I've read about is I guess the need to always be curious. So if you're in the CEO, right, be curious outside of the areas that I guess would be the normal kind of areas of responsibility to sort of build up that knowledge and just have that sort of interest and sort of strategic sort of outlook, I guess. Now, and another area you're very passionate about is digitalization. But where do you see digital having the most impact?
Well, look, I mean, the finance part, obviously, everyone would go and create processes. People, and I'm not going to give away my age here, but when you grew up with Excel, we used to have macros, and we thought that's great, right? Macros now have become RPAs, like robotic process automation, as well as AI that's taking it a level up when it comes to finance. I think, and you mentioned it, when you look at the CEO element that I used to cover, there was quite a lot of innovation needed and required, because a lot of expectations of the COO as well as the CFO role nowadays is, how do we digitalize the business? What can we make better and faster and more efficient. I think there's quite a lot of elements in a business that require digitization. Finance probably one of the easier ones, but when it comes to employees, salary processing, onboarding, but all the way to how do you reach out, how do you communicate, it's quite interesting. I think there's a lot can be done. A few years ago, I was at a conference and I was surprised how different the companies were. Some companies way advanced in being able to invest in their digitization and automation processes, and some others were very far behind. And that's only on the finance side. And I think in a lot of instances there is an element that people have to go an extra mile. So it's a hot topic, and I think it will remain a hot topic. I think a lot of the digitalization, the startup scene, the components that have influence to the traditional corporate environment will grow and will become a lot more fragmented before they get consolidated again. So a big effort. I'm quite passionate, as you mentioned, but I think there's a lot of elements in corporates that will still need to go down the route of full digitalization.
Absolutely, yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a huge area for all businesses and very universal, irrespective of I guess the size of organisation, but also the sector and geography that you operate in. And I guess one sort of common I guess a common sort of maybe misnomer, but also sort of a slight sort of fear that people may have is the digital wave threatening people's jobs. Do you think that's something that will happen?
I've managed projects in the past where we did do process optimizations and digitalizations in a greater form, shape, and my answer to most of the people, in my personal opinion, no, it shouldn't threaten people's jobs. It's a very clear answer because I find digitalization is opening up a complete different alley of efficiency, getting rid of the burden and tedious and laborious way of doing things, putting that away, and actually allowing people to concentrate on maybe more the fun stuff, or maybe more of the areas where they can make a true impact. Right? People that deal with clients want to deal with clients and not having to deal with an invoicing process in the background, or writing down how they have spoken to clients. If that can all be digitalized, then I think they will have more time for their clients. Similar to internal support roles, they will have a lot more time to help people deliver what they're meant to be delivering. I think the availability of digitalized products is allowing more and more the trend that I'm seeing, and also speaking to different people from different industries, whether it's logistics or real estate or others. They see that with the recent years, also with the, I'd say, inverted comma, the trauma of the pandemic, a lot of things becoming a lot more customized. So you want to order something, it's a shirt or a polo shirt or something else. It's not just I want it's given in blue, black, or yellow. I want to order it yellow with black stripes on it, for example, and that's going to be customized for Chris. So in order to get the customization done, you require a different way of producing it and a different way of delivering it to you, because delivery then also becomes an issue and being fast enough. So I think what digitalization will bring out is a lot of customization for the individual, and the customization will then require a complete different skill set for the people that are working on the different products or the services that they're providing. So in this new digital world, I find we will see a lot more people needing to be retrained and re-looked at where their current skill set sits and where they need to grow into in order to deliver what we require in this new environment. So to answer your question, I don't think the digital wave should be threatening anyone's jobs, but I do think that companies and corporates will need to invest further in their people to make sure that they fit into the right gaps that the digital wave is producing. Does that answer your question, Chris?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, really interesting. I think it's that sort of automation, but also it's I guess hopefully sort of the roles that we all perform. It's a more interesting sort of aspect, as you said, sort of slightly different slants, and probably the automation sort of taken away.
Yeah.
Welcome, really interesting. Thank you for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye bye.